Welcome to another episode of That Crazy Triangle Guy. Just wanted to get a brief update out to you. Here we are looking at Bitcoin US dollar. No, we're not. We're looking at Bitcoin on the Coinbase chart, and we are on the 4-hour time frame. This chart's a little bit cleaner than. Oops. Oh my God. This chart's a little bit cleaner than, say, this chart. But you can see I have the same fuchsia colored triangle in the center of your screen. So let's go back to the other one. And here we are. So what do we have in the center of your screen? We have another triangle. We have this fuchsia colored triangle. And where is the vertex of this triangle? The vertex of the triangle, very funnily enough, is on the right at the end of the year. Right at the end of the year. And actually, I designed it that way. But when I did so, well, the reason why I did so is because it looks like it looks like the point's coming pretty close to the end of the year. So I just put it exactly and at $100,000, mind you. $100,000 at the end of the year is where the vertex of this triangle is. And when you do that and you connect it to these other lines, it matches up pretty darn well to those set of lines there. It shoots right through this stupid little line and hits that one very nicely, and it's these other ones, this other group of lines right here. You know, some of these come through here, but it hits a lot of those there. This guy, this guy, this guy. And actually the top of this one, which is really significant as well. Also, when you go back in time, and I will in a second, if we go on a daily time frame, you'll see a lot of other points it hits. So here and here for the top one. And so we're making a nice little triangle here. But what does that tell you? It tells you where we're at right now. We just hit the top of this triangle right now. So are we going to come back down to the bottom of this fuchsia line here, the base of the triangle? Maybe so. Maybe so. And this vertical bar here is the FOMC meeting next week on the 18th, next Wednesday. And we always tend to oscillate in a triangular formation into these meetings. Now, this one's also important because it has a little asterisk on it right here. And the asterisk says meeting associated with a summary of economic projections. And that's when the guys, all the members, put their little dots on their chart about where, whatever, where they project things to. All right, back to our chart here. So, do we come all the way back down to the bottom of this? The pink line here. Do we come down to the pink line here? And that would be at 95.9 possibly by next Tuesday. Maybe we do. It doesn't sound good to me. But the alternative is, and that would, we do kind of want to stay above this yellow line here because it's the resistance support line of it's the top of our previous triangular consolidation back here. We broke out above. We did fall through it a little bit here, but we're back above it. That's kind of weird. Why does that look like that? You know, we must have had another triangular formation up here because we did hold that as support. Wondering why this... Anyway, regardless. I have to go back to the other chart with a lot of lines on it to clear my head, but I don't want to do that right now. So the saving grace here is that we have these other yellow lines right here, and this red channel that we're traveling upwards in. So red channel that we're traveling upwards in is also the base of this previous consolidation triangle here. And really all we've done is just continue upwards in that red channel after going through this block right here, the yellow line, which is the top of the previous triangle. So if I clone the yellow base of our previous triangle, which is the base of the red channel, and pull it down a quarter of a channel distance, it actually hits this wick down here and this here. So perhaps then that's telling me we don't necessarily need to come all the way down to the fuchsia colored line. And I'm not saying that we even have to come down here. There's another scenario, but it wouldn't be out of the question if we did come back down, maybe even to the white line over the weekend, maybe down, or maybe we just kind of go like this, kind of head maybe sideways over the weekend down to the intersection of the white dashed line and the yellow line here at 97.8-ish, 99, 98, 97, 8, 97,800 to 98,000 is what I'm trying to say. Heading into the meeting, possibly. Now, another scenario, which is also very possible, is that we bust a move through this channel, because I feel that a big move is imminent here today, possibly even. That's what I'm feeling. Today or over the weekend, that we do get a move upwards, but I guess maybe we could still even just go sideways and slightly down a little bit heading into the meeting. But I just feel a big move coming, and maybe that comes after the meeting next week, but it feels like we're on the edge of this move. And so quite possibly, maybe we bust a move up here out of the top of the fuchsia colored channel, head up to the top of the white channel here, maybe around 105-ish, and then come back down into the F. Now, see, if we did do that over the weekend, that would also create a CME futures gap, and strengthen the fact that we would then have to come down, retest the top of the channel here at about 102,000, heading into the top of the FOMC meeting, and then boom, bust a move up to the $120-ish thousand region that everyone's talking about. And that would also line in very much with our red channel here. And if we did get up to, I think January 7th, around that date is when we get a big pullback. And January 7th is right around here. It's also the intersection of this blue channel, this red channel, and it's around $121,000. So that all makes sense. We get that big pullback back down to what? I don't know. Maybe back down to test $100,000. Now, what also lines up with that is I want to look at the Gaussian channel. Now we have the Gaussian channel turned on and we are on the 4-hour chart. And I just noticed it's starting to turn slightly upwards. Which is really not what I wanted to see because I'm about to show you something. Um, it has to do with the Gaussian channel from which we start making big moves. Um, but regardless, anyway, let's just do it. Let's go back. Let's actually turn this little guy on. And like areas like this where we make big moves upwards, where does that start from? It starts right after the Gaussian channel has turned red. Right there. And then another one right before it. Well, I guess you could argue that it started well before it turned red from the bottom of the channel, which is interesting that the channel then turned red after we started shooting upwards through it. But also, well, we consolidated in the red portion of this for quite a while, so that's not the same thing there. And you know what? I'd have to go back further in history. Let's just see. Well, those two, I have to go way back to find a instance where we're in a similar position. Well, see, like right here, it kind of did the same thing, and it didn't turn red. So that's a plus, I guess. Here's one. Well, that's not the same as what I'm talking about. Anyway, so from those first two instances, you get the picture. Is there more? Well, there's a lot of different situations that we interact with the 4-hour Gaussian channel. They're not always the same, but on these last two, at least, wherever they are. Where did they go even? Oh my god, they got so skinny here. From these last two, that was the scenario. But you saw there was another one that was stayed green, and we didn't necessarily. We pumped through it without it turning red. So we're kind of in a similar situation here, as far as the slope of the channel, anyway. And it's about to turn down, kind of. So I mean that this formation just is really. I'm just so bad with my words. It's it's just wanting to break out here to the upside. And if we did, the point is, if we did come down here, go sideways a little bit, this turned red, then that would be like, yeah, boom, we're gonna explode from there. So anyway, that's one thing I wanted to show you with the 4-hour. And then that would also, what we've done here with this consolidation is that remember I was talking about coming into the channel all the time we were coming up here. I'm like, we're getting really, really close. We're going to fall in there. If we fall in there, we're going to go sideways for a while. And that's what we've done now. And by doing so, we've turned the channel this way. And now when we pump, it'll be out of our way and we won't have to fall into it again until maybe when January 7th. Maybe. And if we switch to a daily time frame, what also does that coincide with? Because currently, we came right down here. And look at remember, I always have to point this out, my line prediction here that I made way back here. Way back here, I predicted that this is what price action would do, and it followed it to a freaking T. Yeah, I don't always get stuff right, but when I do, I mean, I'm gonna rub it in. So anyway, here's our daily Gaussian channel. We bounced off it back here and have stayed clear of it for quite some time, but it is coming back up on us. Where do you think it's going to come back up to if it keeps coming up like this? Where would we fall into it? We'd fall into it right around the 7th of January. And so then I think we'll see the big correction that everybody's talking about is going to come around here. And then where do we fall down to? Maybe, I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to address that. Who knows if we're going to even be around here, up in this area or over here, or who knows where we're going to be by January 7th. So we'll just leave that for later. I'm guessing that we would fall back into our white channel, which is the most important channel in Bitcoin history, and it's a channel from which all parabolic rallies begin. And you can see that we have not begun our parabolic rally. I guess you could say that we kind of have since back here. Like this is like a little start of it, but we haven't really done it yet. We're going sideways, and we're going sideways where? We're going sideways in the channel from which we always consolidate before starting the rally. And you can see that pretty cleanly. Let me turn the Gaussian channel off because I've talked about what I want to talk about with that. I mean, you can just see how we're hitting. Obviously, the center line of this channel is acting as support on a daily time frame. Which just made clear something to me. If we did come all the way down, well, I guess we could wick down here, but we would close more than likely heading into the FOMC meeting above the center line here. But I don't think we're gonna come down to the pink channel, although we could. I think we're gonna get blocked by this yellow line right here, which is the just a shift of our red channel here, or a widening of our red channel, because price action isn't always is rarely confined by a simple channel with a center line. It's more a group of channels heading up in a same slope upwards. So you know what? We didn't look at the oscillators, and something else I wanted to look at too. So let's turn all those guys on. We have the RSI right here. It's at 62 right now. Oh, it's increasing quickly, which is market just opened. That's telling me, oh, we're heading upwards nicely here. And that's what I wanted to say too. I'd really love to see us pump today. And it's not going to take much to get everybody to FOMO in and pump us up out of that fuchsia colored triangle for the one scenario I did lay out up to where did I say 105? Yeah, I think that's very possible. That's the scenario I'd like to see, rather than this same old bullshit consolidation every time we head into an FOMC meeting. I mean, everybody knows a 25% basis cut is locked in. What I'd really like to see is when they start uh, quantitative tightening with the stop selling stuff off their balance sheet and start buying stuff back and or at least pause that, and that'll get things to rally. And then I guess also, people want to see what the little dots are, but we pretty much know what's going to happen at that meeting. Anyway, so the RSI, these things are just showing it could go either way, really, basically. When you look at all this stuff, could we go sideways and downwards a little bit longer? Yes. Could we pump right now? Yes, definitely. These are all lined up to be very friendly to an upwards movement. I mean, we got this guy, the volatility guy, BBWP. He's really low here. He's at 12%. So he's ready to expand. It doesn't always mean upwards. It could be upwards or downwards, but so you can't really tell much by these other than the BBWP. It's ready to expand. These other ones could go either way, and they all could extend a little bit more into the FOMC meeting next week before blasting off, and maybe even some of them go sideways or downwards a little bit. So, the other thing that's interesting is on the very bottom here we have the open interest, and you can see over the past week or so that it's been heading downwards. Now I want to go back, and we have to turn this guy on, and let's just even let's start right here, and then I have to zoom in on the open interest. Okay, that's not telling me much. Let's go back to back here to a time in the past where we made a pumpy move upwards. I don't know, maybe let's start right here. Now we have to, this open interest chart is really weird because if you turn this guy on, it just looks basically like a straight line. So we have to, it's hard to do this on my phone. All right, maybe that's not a good one right there. Oh, look at it. I have a nice little arrow there. Well, anyway, if you look at that arrow where we started heading upwards, this one's a good example. What was open interest doing heading into that pump upwards? Well, it was coming down. Well, not necessarily where the arrow is, but from right here where we did definitely start a pump upwards. Note from that fuchsia colored line, that's another thing I wanted to point out. When you go back in time and extend this line, it has interaction with our price action in the past. And here we are on October 23rd. October 23. So you can see down here at the bottom, open interest was falling off here, and then we started our big move upwards. Let's see if you see the same thing right here. I forget where the dates were that I was looking at this. Well, here you see with the red candles here on the bottom, it just was kind of going sideways and down a little bit on that one. I was on my computer when I did this, so I could see it a little bit more clearly. Let's look at the big moves like this one right here. Yeah, maybe this is where we were looking. Look at the big moves right here. That's on the 10th of March. Yeah, when you look here, open interest is falling off big time as that move just started. And as we go back here, well, that was afterwards. Trying to move stuff, I can't move stuff. Anyway, preceding big moves, open interest tends to fall off a little bit. And I just can't show this on my phone. Hold on, let me pause this and look on my computer. All right, it's hard to show this on my phone. Had to look on my computer because I don't know, I'm confused. Anyway, here we are on around the 6th of February here. Or even here on the 24th of January. 24th of January, open interest is falling off here at the bottom before we started this pump upwards. And then here it started trending down here before we started our move upwards again on the 6th of February. And then you can see again here around the middle of October 2023 when we started these big moves upwards. Each time open interest was dropping off, heading into the move, dropping off here, heading into these moves. Then here again around the middle of June 2023 before we had this big move upwards, open interest down here is falling off, trending downwards. Anyway, you get the point there. It's just hard to see it on this little screen. And we're in a similar situation right now. Just is what I'm pointing out. It's just setting itself up for a rally here. Can we get to everything's moving so slowly. So there we are. Here we are heading off here. Similar to those other situations. And this is ready to take off. Everything's just setting up for a takeoff here. Okay, so I showed you open interest and these other oscillators. We're on a daily time frame. Let's zoom in and see what's happening. Whoa, look at this. We got some big green dildos, as if I were on another channel. So market just opened right there, and we're having a nice little explosion upwards. That's nice. All night long, we've been oscillating up and back and forth across the $100,000 mark. Well, I guess all day long. That would be all of Yeah, since close of market close yesterday, we've really just been back and forth across there. Now we are moving upwards nicely. That's good. But do we have the power to bust a move through the top of our fuchsia colored channel there? Let's see what the 4-hour candles look like. You know, nothing much to say, although we are starting off the day very nicely. Oh, I think we've just been accumulating here. I think people just been taking it easy, trying to accumulate. We got this big dump here that was trying to scare people off, and then probably maybe did some liquidation too on this other chart. Oh, here we are looking at the liquidation heat map. Now I have this set on the excuse me. I have it set with the symbol, not any pairs. You can also set it with pairs. Click on that, and it'll do like Binance, all these choices here. You have all these choices here, different exchanges and what have you, and different different pairs, different exchanges. So you could do that, but I like to go on the symbol. And by default, it goes on 24-hour. I don't really like that as much as the 12-hour. The 12-hour really tells you what's going on. And look at what we're doing. This is nice because we're heading up into that yellow. So that's pretty good. Where does that yellow end? Do we get all the way through it? Up to 101. 6 or 7. Let's see where that puts us. Here we are back on our little chart. 101, 6 or 7. Puts us, that gets us right back up to these 4-hour candle closes up into that region there. So that would be nice. Do we have the strength to bust through this pink line? God, I really wish we did. So let's see what happens. So either we bust through the pink line, come all the way up to 105, the top of the most important channel in Bitcoin history, and then back down to retest the fuchsia channel into the FOMC meeting, which oddly enough is also the top of those candles I just mentioned. It's always very interesting when things like that meet up. So here you have the top of these 4-hour candles meeting up with the top of the channel here in the FOMC meeting. So that's very, very good. That does strengthen this possibility that we come up here and back down. The other one is that we maybe come back down to the center line of the channel, heading into kind of just peter out here and then drop off, maybe heading into the meeting, or plan B, we just continue in here. Who knows? But I've rambled on long enough, so we'll see you next time.